Welcome to an overview of C21 TRACKER. Before we start with the content of this session, let's quickly review some important reminders. The COVID-19 crisis has resulted in executive orders and other protective guidance at the state and local levels. Please make sure you are reviewing the requirements in your area with your broker or office manager, including those related to non-essential businesses and telemarketing to consumers. Why C21 TRACKER? Currently, agents have limited options when it comes to managing the transaction from offer to close. Many transaction management programs are complex and are not really agent-centric. The real estate transaction is often impaired with the client anxiety caused by a lack of information or communication. Consumers need to know what's happening with their transaction, they want constant attention, and they want to keep track of their progress. C21 wants to provide agents and the clients they serve with a tool that creates a better experience for both the agent and their client. The tool, C21 TRACKER, was created to be agent-centric and easy to use. C21 TRACKER is an automated 24/7 real estate experience through an AI-powered agent mobile app. C21 TRACKER's agent interaction helps to keep friction as low as possible. By focusing on short, simple messaging conversations, the process is accessible to a diverse agent demographic. C21 TRACKER is primarily for agents to assist their buyers and sellers with timely updates about their transaction, and it provides a robust admin portal for administrators to assist with updates and for brokers to keep watch over all transactions in progress. The agent website portal was designed with you in mind. Agents can customize steps for their transaction, and the broker can customize steps for all transactions in their office. Since many agents have one or two pending transactions, updating C21 TRACKER is as quick as responding to a few text messages a week. When it comes to consumers, buying or selling a home is one of the largest financial transactions of their lives, and we know that the process of buying or selling a home can quickly become overwhelming for consumers. C21 TRACKER keeps clients informed on the progress of their transaction, and it helps fuel communication between the client and the agent. As you all know, when the client feels connected to their transaction and to their agent, it creates a better overall experience. Here's a closer look at what C21 TRACKER does for agents and their clients. It's designed to foster agent-client relationships built on communication. C21 TRACKER simplifies the process for consumers with 4 nonlinear macro steps and a simplified progress within. For example, there are aspects of paperwork that overlap with an appraisal. Life isn't linear, neither is the real estate transaction. C21 TRACKER lets consumers review parts of the whole. It's optimized for the first-time home buyer and useful for every home buyer and seller. Finally, it's not enough to have a nice look and feel. C21 TRACKER is also engaging. Inspired by gamification theory, the interface was designed with purpose, allowing for constant communication and alerts. Let's take a closer look at both the agent website portal and the C21 TRACKER app for consumers. Our agent, Mary Johnson, wants to provide the best possible experience for Julie by keeping her up to date on what's happening with her transaction. Mary is excited to connect with Julie using C21 TRACKER. The app allows Mary to quickly communicate with Julie and keep her updated throughout the transaction process. To get started, Mary goes into the agent website portal, which is accessed directly from 21 Online. Once logged in, Mary sees the dashboard, also known as the home screen. From the dashboard, Mary can see how many clients are active in C21 TRACKER, how many transaction updates have occurred, and how many new transactions have been entered into Dash. New transactions represent an opportunity for Mary to connect with her clients by introducing them to the C21 TRACKER app. The final column is feedback. A number here represents feedback submitted by the client. The recent activity section of the dashboard identifies new activity. Anytime an update to a step occurs, whether by agent, client, or admin, it will show up in recent activity. Clicking on one of the activities in the list will take you to the transaction in C21 TRACKER so you can take action on it. Quick Update lets you select a transaction and see the progress of key aspects of the transaction. Or you can easily modify the status of different aspects of the transaction. Under Community Discussions, Agent Mary can view C21 Workplace discussions regarding C21 TRACKER and may provide feedback and ask questions. After locating and selecting Julie's transaction, Mary's going to invite her to follow along and stay up to date on all the work that she's doing. By creating a unique home code for Julie, Mary will grant Julie access to view her transaction through the C21 Tracker app. Let's take a closer look at generating a home code. The Transactions Hub contains all buyer side and seller side transactions that are pending in Dash. If they are not pending in Dash, they are not visible in C21 Tracker. By default, no home codes or clients are associated with any transactions until you make that connection. To invite a client, locate their transaction and then select the Invite Client button. Input their name in the pop-up window that appears. Then select Create Home Code. This will generate a home code that is associated with the transaction. You can create as many home codes as you want to invite multiple parties to a particular transaction. Here, we're in the transaction view within the Transactions Hub. At the top, you'll see the activities for the transaction for 16208 Tokay Street, which we'll look at in greater detail in a minute. Before she provides the code to her client, Mary checks all the steps in the transaction to verify they apply for this client. Mary will keep track of these steps to ensure the offer to close process goes smoothly. You also have the opportunity to change the estimated closing date here, and that will appear in the app for the client. Once a home code has been generated for the transaction, you can update the transaction status details and more by selecting the Update button. The Transaction Details page provides access to each of the steps for each main category: offer, inspection, research, and financing. Each main category contains the most commonly associated steps within a transaction. Select the Customize Steps button to add or remove steps as needed. The customizations you make here will apply to the selected transaction, in this example, 16208 Tokay Street. Back on the transaction page, you can inform the invited client of a change in status to any of the steps by clicking on the drop-down menu associated with a step and then select from the following options: Finished, Incomplete, Needs Attention, Not Started. There is no Save button to click. Each choice you make is saved automatically. If Needs Attention is selected, an additional message can be added to communicate to the client by selecting Add Message. For example, you may have something of importance about the flood insurance requirement you want to call out to your client. Put that note here to make sure you both stay on top of it. Mary is ready to send Julie her home code so she can follow the transaction progress and so she can provide additional information or ask a question. Julie receives the unique home code and Mary explains how to download the app to her mobile device from the App Store or Google Play. Julie installs the app, applies her home code, and instantly from within the app she sees her transaction and all the steps required for contract to close. The app is a simplified view of the steps that Mary is tracking for Julie. After downloading the C21 Tracker app, Julie taps the Get Started button. Next, she enters the home code she received from Mary. Finally, she'll tap on the property to select it. Now Julie can see categories of completed and upcoming steps in the transaction process. The categories are Research, Inspection, Offer, Financing. Within each main category are the corresponding steps. For example, in the Research category, the steps might include reporting on the status of obtaining the buyer's agency agreement, comps research, utility review, and more. Based on updates Mary enters from the agent website portal, the categories will be color-coded in the app to reflect the status of the overall activity. The colored icons mean the following: green is on track, yellow means caution, red indicates an issue. If there is an issue within one of the categories, a red circle appears with the number of issues. Julie may tap any box to view the details and steps for the category. She may also view any notes added by Mary. Note the estimated closing date here. That gives Julie insight into when her transaction could be ready to close. In time, as steps are modified by Mary, Julie will see the progress with status updates and, like I said previously, comments or questions added by Mary. And at any time during the process, Julie can quickly get in touch with Mary from within the app. To do so, when Julie taps Contact, she sees the different ways in which she can connect with Mary. The ease of use makes it a great tool to foster and build the relationship throughout the transaction. Your client can also send feedback with a couple quick taps. When clients enter feedback throughout the process, take advantage of it to focus on strengths and areas of improvement. Because Mary has been keeping Julie up to date throughout the process, Julie will add her positive feedback, and that's exactly what she does. And as the agent, you get a text message alerting you to client requests without having to log into the portal. It's a win-win. To take advantage of this great feature, ensure that your phone, email, and office information are up to date on the agent website portal under Options. For Mary to see the feedback submitted, she logs into the agent website portal and clicks on the feedback button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. The feedback is then listed for easy viewing. Let's recap. After an offer has been accepted and is pending in Dash, update C21 Tracker in the agent website portal with status updates and notes. Advise your client to download the C21 Tracker app and enter their unique home code provided by you. Communicate with your client via the agent website portal by making updates throughout the process. Finally, get feedback from your client and use this feedback to make improvements and focus on strengths. Now, let's briefly talk about the additional functionality available to admins. C21 Tracker is optimized for office administrators, brokers, and extreme power agents who need to handle many closings at once. C21 Tracker provides fast access to handling many transactions simultaneously. Admins and brokers have the rights to customize the transaction steps for your market, text message opt-in and schedule, update transaction statuses, review feedback, view reports, and engage with C21 community. Let's take a closer look at some admin functionality. From the Options tab, office admins and brokers have the ability to configure additional options in C21 Tracker. To do that, you select the Manage Step Overrides dropdown and choose Everyone in My Company. Doing this allows you to customize the steps that will be included in all future trackers for everyone in the company. Changes you make here do not affect trackers that are already in progress. If you want to modify an in-progress tracker, you may do so in the Transactions hub for a specific transaction. Here is another point to note. Back over in the Transactions hub, brokers and admins have different filter options, enabling them to choose from more than just their own results. This will give them insight into multiple agents and their transaction progress simultaneously. Let's recap. After an offer has been accepted and is pending in Dash, update C21 Tracker in the agent website portal with status updates and notes. Advise the client to download the C21 Tracker app and enter their unique home code provided by you. Communicate with the client via the agent website portal by making updates throughout the process. Get feedback from your client and use this feedback to make improvements and focus on strengths. Utilize the admin tools to monitor and manage the steps for multiple agents and transactions. Thank you for attending the C21 Tracker overview. We have a job aid for you to use as a resource that details all the functionality covered here. You can find it on C21 Online.